Good Friday, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Garden State Weather and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, your source for weather information for the northern mid-Atlantic region, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm forecaster Robert Smith with the forecast analysis video discussion for Friday, the 10th of January, 2014. Happy birthday to my friend Patty today as well, another fine Capricorn. We have some light snow, some sleet, and some freezing rain across the region this morning, and this is some warm air advection that's moving through. We've got some watches and warnings and advisories out for this area as well. It's amazing how in such a short period of time we can have more watches and warnings across the region again. Yesterday we had flood warnings on the Delaware around Trenton, and they've taken these down now because basically there is still quite a lot of ice on the river there in the Delaware around Trenton and the Lehigh Valley area there. But the flow is moving and it's below flood stage and the water continues to recede. So we'll still find ice on the river, and we have an aerial flood watch in effect for most of the region through Saturday morning for a second batch of stronger showers moving through the region with moderate to heavy rain on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. That could cause some additional problems too, but temperatures will soar into the 50s, and unless the ground thaws quickly, we could be dealing with some urban flooding issues across the region, and that's why we have aerial flood watches in until 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. But the ice jam that is occurring or was occurring over the Delaware River at Trenton is starting to recede a little bit as the ice begins to break up, and the Coast Guard continues to work on that effort to get the water to be rerouted down the Delaware by opening up some of that area there on the Delaware. Meanwhile, further north, we have freezing rain advisories until 1 o'clock this afternoon for Morris County and Warren County and parts of central and southern New Jersey as well. The temperatures are below freezing but warming, and some of the precipitation is mixing with and changing over from light snow in Central Park and northwestern New Jersey and Newark to some sleet there in Newark now this hour, and some freezing rain and sleet further south and east across the region. Now, freeze rain advisories until 11 a.m. this morning, also for portions of southeastern Pennsylvania. And along the New Jersey coast, they've expanded those freeze warnings or freezing rain advisories now for Ocean and Cumberland, and also for Cape May and Atlantic counties here. Not Cape May, but Atlantic counties and Salem County until 11 a.m. this morning as the temperatures continue to warm. There's been some little icing on the roadways here reported to the DOT departments along I-95. Better look at our rain now. This is snow and changing to a little bit of sleet or ice pellets here at Newark as the last hour is being reported, and some sleet across and snow across central New Jersey from Philadelphia northeast, and then rain further to the south. This is an area pocket of warm air advection well out ahead of a cold front and a storm system moving through the upper Midwest and the Central Plains, actually towards the Ohio River Valley with a strong cold front. That's going to come through after this precipitation waxes and wanes here during the late morning, early afternoon. We'll find a lull in the precipitation, and then we really ramp up with some strong winds and some moderate to heavy rain around here that could cause some flooding concerns, especially street and urban flooding during Saturday afternoon right through Saturday evening. Here's our warm air advection pattern and disturbance moving through the flow here across the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia metro area this morning. And there's pretty much a lapse. There's an increase in moisture here across the Ohio and Appalachian Plateau here. Here's our storm system. This is a pretty formidable storm here across the Central Plains that will be moving up towards the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence River Valley in southeastern Canada over the next 24 hours, dragging a very strong and dynamic cold front through the region. The air mass behind it is not that cold, but the precipitation from this cold front and the strong south to southwesterly flow will increase across the region late tonight through Saturday night, and that's going to mean some problems for people flying as well. Aviation is also going to mean the low-level jet will increase, and some of that momentum could be transferred down with some moderate to heavy rain across the region Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. Water vapor imagery this morning shows the lifting here across the region, producing some burst of snow here across northeastern New Jersey. And that burst of snow will be waxing and waning through the region during late this morning and early afternoon. We can see this on the radar here with moderate to heavy precipitation expanding from the Philadelphia to the New York City vicinity. Surface map this morning from weatherroanoke.com and digital atmosphere software shows the precipitation overspreading the Philadelphia to New York corridor here as high pressure is off the coast. The winds are all backing around to the southwest, and the light snow, moderate snow in some locations, and freezing rain and sleet in others is transitioning as the air mass begins to warm. We've got temperatures now in the above freezing now from central New Jersey south, and that snow will transition to just a period of either light freezing rain or sleet, and then just diminish to very light drizzle during the next couple of hours as this area of warm air advection moves through the region. Low pressure developing here as seen on the satellite imagery this morning across the Central Plains will be moving through the Great Lakes region into southeastern Canada and drag a strong cold front which will be stretched out through this region. The storm system here will be moving into our region and passing through the region by tomorrow evening with some strong winds and also the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall across the region. For northeastern New Jersey and the New York City metropolitan area, less than an inch of snow this morning through this evening. You get up into the lower Hudson Valley, 1 to 2 inches. And the big news story is the rainfall across the region. The rainfall is going to be moderate to heavy as we approach Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. Could be looking at better than 2 inches here. This is causing some urban and street flooding. That's why we have a watch or a warning out, watch out for the area right now for flooding concerns for tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. And the moderate to heavy rain extends all the way from northeastern New Jersey into the lower Hudson Valley and into interior Connecticut. For extreme northwestern New Jersey, Sussex County, and parts of western Warren County, 1 to 2 inches of snow here in the Lehigh Valley and also in Berks and the Poconos here. We could have up to 1 to 2 inches of snow here with that burst this morning. For the aviational weather deck, we have limited IFR and marginal VFR across the terminals this morning. Out of Newark, 30 degrees. The wind is north at 5, visibility 5 miles. They have some moderate ice pellets and some moderate snow, as mentioned here at the Weather Center. Clouds, a few clouds at 1500, broken 2200, overcast at 3000. And in the last hour, they picked up 1/100th of an inch of precipitation. Now, we're going to have scattered clouds with actually some light snow throughout the early morning hours, some light snow continuing into the early morning hours, transitioning to probably a little bit of light rain or light snow. Visibility is under 6 miles during the mid-morning hours, then transitioning over to a little bit of light rain too. And then eventually by later this afternoon, we're going to find the winds out of the southwest at 6 knots, precipitation cutting off, broken clouds at 2500, so that's mostly cloudy there, precipitation ending. And by late tonight, the winds turn around to the south at about 4 knots, the scattered clouds broken at 2500. Winds ramp up a little bit on after midnight and tomorrow morning with basically overcast conditions, light rain spreading back into the terminals after midnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Winds out of the south and southwest at about 10 knots or so, a little bit less than that. Visibility is being reduced to 1 to 3 miles in the light rain. And then from mid-morning on, light rain and the winds begin to pick up now from the southwest at 15 knots. By later in the afternoon, we're expecting those winds to increase even further with the low-level jet increasing across the region. For Philadelphia, we've got basically some IFR conditions this morning, temperature at freezing. There's some late freezing rain and fog there, scattered clouds, overcast at 4000. They've also picked up 1/100th of an inch in precipitation in the last hour or so. They've got freezing rain going on this morning, some freezing rain and ice pellets going on this morning too. With basically overcast conditions, and then the light rain showers end late this morning. By late this afternoon and this evening, there's just a lull in the precipitation with a south wind at 4 knots increasing to 10 knots by tomorrow morning with overcast conditions. Light rain coming into the terminals forecasted at around midnight tonight. And so we're going to be going back to about marginal IFR to MVFR conditions throughout the rest of today and back to IFR conditions in rain, moderate to heavy rain tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow night. Also, the other thing I forgot to mention is these aren't gale watches yet, but they may become that along the south shore and east ends of Long Island, also along the north shore of Long Island, south shore of Connecticut, and all of the New Jersey coastal waters down to Delaware. Basically, right now we're looking at small craft conditions in effect through Saturday night and Sunday morning. With seas 2 to 4 feet and winds increasing to 15 to 20 knots with gust up to 30 knots. Now these could be further increased with the low-level jet, and we could be dealing with a gale watch around here by later this morning and tonight for the period for tomorrow right through Sunday morning. NAMWRF composite upper level winds here at 850 millibars. This is 5,000 feet. So we can see that the winds want to increase in the low levels here, about 50, 60, 70 knots according to the NAM model by Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. So this is a very strong and powerful dynamic cold front that will be moving through the region, but not too much cold air behind it, but definitely some strong winds in the low and mid levels of the atmosphere between 2 and 6,000 feet. That's going to cause possibly some low-level wind shear for flight, and also it means that some of that momentum will begin to transfer the rain down to the surface, with moderate to heavy rain burst across the region Saturday afternoon through Saturday night. You can see the transition now from rain through moderate to heavy rain and sleet occurring from just south of 495 here, or just north of 495, and along 495, and then back towards Yonkers and Jersey City and Newark. That's where the moderate snow is occurring this morning. And this is all transitioning to the north and east, and it puts pretty good coating on the ground here. You get lesser snow and lighter burst of snow here across Sussex County and Warren County, but anywhere in this corridor from 476 through 78 here, and just along portions of 80 here, this is where some of the moderate snow is really accumulating rapidly this morning on the cold surface. Here is our futurecast for the morning. You can see the precipitation moving through the region. By 12 noon, most of it now getting into and out of New York City, and then we start drying things out along Route 78 and 80. Points of along I-95 and 95 continue as light rain, and possibly even leftover light drizzle across the region as the precipitation begins to break away here as the first burst of warm air advection moves through. And then by later this evening, central and southern New Jersey begin to get back into the rain, and the rain shield begins to dry out a little bit, and then eventually begins to expand back to our south and west again. Could be a little burst of a little freezing rain or a little drizzle left over at midnight tonight, and then the rain really starts getting in here during tomorrow morning from southwest to northeast. Could be mixed with a little freezing precipitation in the very beginning, but most of the region will be warming up rapidly across the forecast region. And then we're expecting moderate to heavy rain to move through the region during the afternoon and evening hours, and some of that rain could be coming down quite heavy, especially from mid-afternoon on. And we could find spokes of dry slots here and there, but for the most part, the precipitation will be getting in and out of here during the late night and early morning hours, exiting off the coast rapidly by early Sunday morning. Starting out this morning along the Garden State Parkway, where temperatures are above freezing, you go further inland from I-95 down through I-295 here, and you're finding temperatures basically running between at just around freezing to just below freezing. And then of course from south of 78, from let's say Brunswick all the way north and east to Yonkers and into portions of the lower Hudson Valley here into Connecticut, that's where temperatures are basically running below freezing. As we go through the day, the temperature is really going to start to moderate, and temperatures by Saturday afternoon, that's where things really get going. Temperatures on Saturday afternoon getting into the 40s and 50s across the region. The 50s begin to expand up towards the region during the morning hours and into the afternoon hours. You can even find a few temperatures getting close to 60 degrees, especially across south central areas in the northern Delmarva region during a Saturday afternoon, as a heavy rain comes through the region. And a squall line, too, is possible to come through the region during the later afternoon hours, too. Once the precipitation ends on Sunday morning, heights begin to rise across the central and southeastern United States. We're still in a rapidly moving westerly flow here across the northern mid-Atlantic region and the northeastern United States, with generally clearing skies. And we wait for the next disturbance and trough access here to begin to develop across the central plains, with another low pressure area across southeastern Canada and a cold front moving through the region during the day on Tuesday morning, bringing some light to moderate shower activity and milder air behind it. Now this disturbance here across the Great Lakes will move further to the south and further to the north and east. Notice how the mean trough axis here is starting to develop and carve itself out across the eastern United States, and first the central plains from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf Coast states, as high pressure now and a positive PNA signature starting to build up across the western areas of the United States and the Pacific Northwest and south to the Aleutian Islands. This is a positive PNA, or Pacific North American Isosceles Index. And generally, when high pressure builds in mass across one region, lower heights begin in another, and we can see the trough beginning to dig itself out in the means across the upper Midwest to the Central Plains and eventually towards the East Coast. Now, there will be another disturbance here in the flow that gets cut off, or not cut off, but a transient in the flow here. And this is where we're going to have to watch for interesting times late Tuesday night, or especially during the day on Wednesday. If this area of low pressure is a little closer to the coast, we could find some snow developing rapidly and then spreading south, north and east rapidly out into the ocean during the Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening time frame. And then high pressure begins its control over across the region. Notice the heights here are still not that deep, especially as you get towards central and southeastern United States, Georgia, into Florida. This is where the ridge of high pressure and warmer weather will be found here. The trough axis remains to the north and east as the polar vortex looks to be splitting a couple of different pieces across the region, with one south of Hudson's Bay, Canada, with this strong upper level low and surface low reflection here on the model. This is the GFS from early this morning. Mainly, though, we're not looking at any warm weather across the region. If anything, normal to below normal temperatures as we continue our slide down, with ridging occurring and building continually across the western United States, and a trough access in the means from the Central Plains all the way to the coast, to the east coast of the United States. We will continue to monitor the ice jams, the flooding concerns, and all of that here in live fashion on Twitter, Facebook, and on our websites, Garden State Weather and gardenstateweather.blogspot.com. You make it a good weekend. Do be mindful of the rain tomorrow. Umbrellas are a must tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Even though the temperatures soar into the 50s across the region, they'll fall back, not as cold, and strong gusty winds on Sunday with clearing skies as well. For Garden State Weather and gardenstateweather.blogspot.com, I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You make it a great weekend. We'll be back bright and early with you on Monday morning.